Hi, this is Paul Meyer again. I'm continuing my podcast. We're just going to jump straight into it today. The topic for this time is going to be attitude of gratitude. I feel like that is something that I've been talking a lot about God and my sobriety. Honestly, at this point, I feel like it needs to be stated about gratitude and having an attitude of gratitude. I think about the fact that throughout my life, there have been many instances where it's so easy to be negative. It's way easier to be negative, honestly, rather than actually being grateful for everything that I do have. And I think about it for anybody, honestly, like, especially if you're lucky enough, like me, to have been born in this country, the US of A, there needs to be an attitude of gratitude. It's so easy these days to look and see so much strife, so much negativity, so much just warmongering. And I'm not going to judge other people. Other people want to live that way, and I lived that way for a long time myself. I lost my dad 9 years ago, July 9th, 2017, and that wrecked me. That wrecked my family. It was really hard. For me at this time, though, after years of letting myself become like so many other people and actually being negative and jaded and world wearied, which is understandable, I had to get to a point where I had to allow myself to going back to being who I used to be. The guy who, by my default, does everything I can to be optimistic and be hopeful. And especially since I got sober 2 years ago. I would rather live life being grateful and having an attitude of gratitude that isn't just some cornball thing to say. It's not. It's easy for people to think like, oh, you positive, half glass full type people. But honestly, I would rather say like, hey, you know what? Honestly, again, it's not coming from a place of judgment, but what is the point of being like those people who are negative and who are really just like, what is the point? Again, life, if you get out of the media and you get away from TikTok or whatever it is and you actually live life, yes, I'm doing this podcast. So some people could say, oh, well, you're being a hypocrite. You're complaining about social media or whatever, but then you're still putting it out there. And for me, it's to put out a different perspective, a perspective that too many people don't get from the media these days, or social media, or whatever it is. And yes, I'm still going to do this. I'm still going to put out content because I want to counteract all the negative strife. If you actually live life and really live life away from screens and technology and all the fear mongering and everything else, there's actually a lot of really good in life still. There's a lot of really good. Life isn't easy. We are living in a time that there's a lot. Conversations I've had, though, over the last year, however long it is, the reality is, if you go back before social media, you go back before the times that we're living in now, everything that's happening now probably was happening. We just didn't get the influx of media and everything else. And if you really think about it like that, historically, there is truth to that. But we just live in a time where it's all at our fingertips and we can just doom scroll like crazy. And if you're coming from a recovery standpoint like I am, and also another added element that I haven't talked a huge amount about, but I have a lot of mental health myself, and that's going to be a continuing through line through this podcast of mine. Like, it would be so easy for me to be like, hey, I grew up autistic. I still am autistic. I don't have the mental health to the degree that I used to. I had to put in a lot of work and be a different person. But to be able to, and I grew up with horrible vision, like practically legally blind. I had a lot of stuff throughout my life. I'm white, yes. I am privileged, yes. I was born in the US of A, yes. I have a lot of good. I will not lie about that. Some people could say what I have is white people's problems. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. I don't care. But to me, I think of it's Dave Chappelle, one of his Netflix specials over the last however many years. Comparative suffering. We all suffer. We all deal with stuff. We all deal with life in our own ways. And why do we need to compare my suffering to your suffering or anybody else's suffering? Because we all do. And that's the reality of life. Yes, I suffer. Yes, you suffer. Anybody suffers. But why do we need to let that run our life? Why do we need to let that take away from just doing what we can to be good human beings to each other and getting out of the technology as much as possible? Yet again, like I said, this is a podcast, so there is that dichotomy. But again, I want to put out as much good material to the world as I can and be of motivation to others, because honestly, yeah, that's the theme to this. I want to be a motivational speaker. That is the goal here. I want to give people hope that somebody who had a lot of mental health over my life, who lost people in horrible ways, who had vision issues, had addiction, had so many different things, that I could still come out on this end. And yes, I had a lot of help. I had a lot of resources that some people don't have. Yeah. But to some people, like, honestly, I look at, like, the same situation that I was put in, the exact same life that I was put in, it could have broken a lot of people as far as I'm concerned. And that's not to be some braggadocio, egotistical dick. But the reality is, yeah, if we don't let ourselves watch out for an attitude of gratitude and be as positive as we can be, it's so easy to get torn down. And so, yeah, all of these new elements that I'm bringing up in this episode, I am going to be continuing to expand on further because, yeah, why shouldn't I? Why don't I want to put this stuff out there to be able to maybe make a difference for one person or 1,000 people or however many? It doesn't matter. The reality is, whatever could come from this, I hope, but I'm doing this because of the authenticity that it gives me, the passion that this really drives me to be putting out an episode at 11 o'clock in the evening. So, yeah, I just want to be able to be of as much usefulness as I can and as of much service as I can, whether that's to somebody that I've never met online, and just giving people hope that there is room for attitude of gratitude. That'll do it for tonight. Thank you.